This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Oh, we're going to learn a lot today, and I'm sure you've heard this term before, Feng Shui. I'm not even sure if it's a Chinese principle that goes back, thousands of years. I believe it's Asian. I got that part. I'm not sure. However, there are many principles here that can bring you abundance, that can bring you joy, that can bring you a happier living and lifestyle based on placement and things like that. That's the layman's explanation of it. Now we're going to go to somebody who is certified in this and helps people with it all the time. Yes, she is a certified Feng Shui consultant and practices many different forms of it, which we will get to. And she's on our show today. Catherine Dean joins us on the program. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm struggling to try and define what Feng Shui is, so please help me out with that.
Well, you kind of touched on it. It's all about energy, and it's about energy movement. And yes, it's Asian. It was originated by the Chinese masters thousands of years ago. There are some estimates that it goes back about 5,000 years. But their main focus back when it was forming had a lot to do with the shape and the form of the land. And so it started there. They noticed how hills in the back or water in the front, or how, the natural elements interacted with how they were living their lives. And some things would help and some things would hurt. And they kind of figured a lot of that out. So over time, it has evolved, and there are different schools of Feng Shui. However, when people talk about Feng Shui, I would really like them to understand that it's about energy movement, and Feng Shui helps us to direct energy movement.
Thank you for adding the energy element in there, because I forgot to include that. And
That's okay.
and my first foray into this was, I want to say 30 years ago, 25 years ago, with a psychic, and I'm very connected with this person. And I forget what the instance came up with the situation, but he said, I had boxes and things in a room, and I'm pretty organized, maybe in transition, whatever. And he was like, move those boxes. You are blocking the flow of energy.
Yeah.
And I, kind of agreed, but I wasn't 100% sure until I got deeper into it. But then once you remove certain things, you just feel better.
Oh, yeah.
It's just if you're mindful of that kind of thing, it's pretty profound, the difference when you move things around.
Profound is a good word. And a lot of people are reacting to the energy around them all the time, but they don't necessarily understand it. I can walk into a room before I became a certified consultant. I was constantly being affected by the energy around me. We would go to an antique store. We would go to a restaurant. We would go all different places. I remember one day my husband and I decided to go to dinner, and we walked into this restaurant and we sat down, and I'm like, why do they have this picture here? I don't like the corner we're sitting in. I'm not comfortable here. He's like, do you want to go someplace else? And it's like, yeah, I think maybe I might want to, but maybe I can stick it out. What happens is boxes that are sitting behind you, clutter on the way up the stairs, obstructions that might, end up finding their way right at your front door. These are things that all interact with our energy, with the energy that surrounds us. And when people become aware of that, then they usually have much more serene homes. A lot of people like to be there. They like to be in their homes. They like to go to work because they love their office. All sorts of things, positive things take place.
I'm right there with you. And I'm getting different visuals in my mind. Like, I have a home office, and I've been there 3 years. I don't really like working in that office. I find myself somewhat struggling. Like, I'm going to open the door and I'm going to get a lot done, and then it kind of slows up. And I'm convinced that There's something going on there. Placement, direction, whatever that may be.
Hmm.
And again, the energy. Now, you mentioned antique
Hmm.
stores
Yes.
right away, and I never thought of this, but
Yeah.
you're absorbing the energy of lots of other people that maybe you have one item, right? It could be multiple owners, and you're
Yes.
absorbing that energy unless the energy was cleared, if you will.
You got it completely. I have two great examples. One is we were at an antique store and I found this decorative box that I really, really liked. And this was before I became a consultant.
Hmm.
And I did not have the knowledge I have now. And my husband and I were walking around and I started getting uncomfortable. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? I don't understand what's happening here. And I realized that the box was bothering me. I put the box down, I walked around, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't buy that box. Now, if it were today, I would buy the box and I would clear it because I really liked the box, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
So, yeah, there's that. And then I had another example and I don't remember what it was.
Oh, good. All right, let's go there. How do you clear it? How do you clear the energy out? What do you do?
So there's a lot of things. Some if a person knows how to do Reiki, they can clear it with Reiki. If they don't know how to do Reiki, they can take some people use cool water and they take a cloth with cool water and they wipe down the object and mentally or literally speak out loud that they're clearing this object of what we
Hmm.
call predecessor energy. And then we allow room for our own energy to take over and we can, possess the box. And, it's now mine. You can say anything in your mind that you would like to say, but I would always include I am removing the predecessor energy of this item to make room for my energy.
Hmm.
So
So,
yeah,
what about sage and what about Palo Santo?
okay, yeah, both good for. I use both of those for rooms, but I have no,
Oh.
but I have used Sage for items. I did a project at the house a couple years ago, and I bought a bunch of the same type of item coming from all different origins, and I did the clearing with the water, with the cool water, and then I saged everything because I had no history on any of that. I probably would do that with antique items as well.
What about now? And we're going to go. We digressed a little bit here, but I find this is important because it's
Hmm.
about energy and supporting us. What
Yes.
about if you have items from a previous relationship? And some of those items could be expensive, dressers, uh, beds, things like that.
Hmm.
How do you clear the energy, like so you can wipe the slate clean?
Okay. With a bed and a broken relationship, an ended relationship, even if it's amicable, you don't want the bed. You definitely do not want the mattress and the box spring, but I would advise somebody to be rid of the whole bed. If that's not possible, then the mattress and the box springs. If that is not possible, yes, you can clear the bed, but you may not be as comfortable as you think you might be because, you know, there's memories there.
Mm, I
And
got
as
you.
a professional, I definitely would not recommend that as the first choice.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hmm.
Interesting. Well, learning a
Yes.
lot here today.
Yes.
For you, Catherine, how did this all begin?
It's really interesting. Like I explained earlier, I have always been sensitive to energy, but everybody is, and some people more sensitive than others. People can feel that effect and then they just let it roll off their back, and others, it's like something's up. I don't like the way I feel. But my husband and I went to a seminar. He's a restaurant owner, and we went to a restaurant marketing seminar and met all these very interesting marketers. And one of the speakers inspired me. And one of the things he said was, find your passion. And so I was thinking in terms of what is my passion? And when we got home, we were bouncing it around, and he said, you know, you've always had an interest in Feng Shui. And I said, I have always had an interest in Feng Shui. That would be an interesting thing to look into. I still didn't know what my passion was, though. But I did pursue information like how would I become a consultant? What would it entail? How long would it take? How much would it cost? And I said, "Oh my goodness, this looks much more interesting than I realized. I have to go there." So I started with an idea, an interest, and I obtained the knowledge, and it became my passion. I absolutely
Wow.
love practicing feng shui, and I love helping people when they get those aha moments and they love their home and the things that they reached out for me about are improving, and it's very rewarding to me.
Just because of your connection, call it a sensitivity to energy,
Hmm.
this probably just fell into place for you once you realize, feng shui and the principles behind it and how you can change lives with just
Hmm.
changing objects and things like that, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
it did fall into place. I found the right teacher at the right time. I've taken more courses since then and found the right teacher at each right time. I initially started with what's called BTB Feng Shui. It's the Western form of Feng Shui. And I have recently become certified in another classical form of feng Shui. Each person along the way has just been the perfect teacher for me. Everything I did align, and that tends to happen a lot when
Hmm.
you're in tune and tapped into energy movement.
Because it's the way it's supposed to be,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
What is the difference between different types of feng shui?
So the two different types that I know a lot about is the BTB and the Flying Star. BTB, a lot of people are very familiar with it because it's used a lot here in the West. It is based on classical teachings from 5,000 years ago, but it's really been simplified and, quote, westernized because people in the West live very differently than, where the origins of feng shui come from. The main focus is intention. You use the elements to balance spaces with intention. And that form of feng shui uses the bagua. And then there's the flying star feng shui, which works with the compass. It's based more in classical directions. And I did want to talk to you about your home office. So don't let us forget that.
I'm actually afraid to go
No,
there.
no, don't be
I'll
afraid.
be
No,
home. I'll be home later, moving things around.
you probably will. But what I really like, what I love about feng shui is when people learn, like, oh no, 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 I spent all this time, all this energy fixing something up, and now you're telling me, or I am finding it's not working or whatever. Feng Shui has a lot of answers. We have a lot of remedies, adjustments, enhancements that we can do. And very often it's small tweaks.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Let's go to the office. Let's just
let's go
do
to
it.
the office. Okay.
So don't. How about this? And you tell me if this works. I'll tell you what's in there and the direction they are facing,
Okay.
and then if does that work? Or
It
how?
might not. It might not
And
because I'll
okay.
explain. What happens is everybody has a good direction and everybody has the worst direction. There's this thing called Mingua, and everyone's got their number, and it's a part of the services that I offer. I tell people what their Mingua number is, and I explain to them what their best directions are and their worst. And it's very possible, although I do not know, you could have your desk facing less than positive direction for you. And because I don't know your Mingwa number, I can't tell you if you're facing the right direction.
Oh, okay. So wait, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is
No.
a light bulb went off.
Hmm.
I thought that there were very definitive principles. Let's say in an office, I'm
Hmm.
just going to throw this out here that if you want prosperity, that the your desk should be facing the west. I'm just making this up.
Yeah.
Uh, So what I'm hearing from you, and tell me if I'm hearing this right, uh, it one size does not fit all. It
Right.
really depends on this number that you're talking about.
In the Flying Star tradition,
Hmm.
yes. Now
Okay.
there are people, and it's true. There are certain truths, no matter what school of feng shui you are following
Okay.
or implementing. And yes, there's a prosperity area and there's a career area that is within the Bagua that fits on. It's it's like a energetic map that sits on your blueprint. And that's what the Bagua is. And in Flying Star, it's based on direction, and in BTB, it's based on where the front door is. So in your office, it would be based on where the door is to your office. What's true in feng shui, regardless of what direction you're in, is you still want your desk in the command position. And what the command position is, where what that means is you're sitting at your desk and you can see your front door, or you see the door to your office. And that gives you the advantage of not being surprised, someone sneaking up on you. You can see energetically opportunity as it arrives, and you don't miss it because you've got your back to it. So I don't know how your office is set up, but there could be some things in there that I wouldn't advise anybody to have in their office. You know, you could have things like that in there, and we can go through a couple and see if it makes a difference. But my guess is that you're not facing your best direction.
Ask me questions.
Well, what's in your office? Where's your desk located? When you sit at your desk at home, and you're looking from your seat out, what do you see?
I see a window, and I put
Okay.
it there because I just thought it was nice to have the light coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I don't even have the window open as blinds there, but that's where it's facing.
Okay.
Direction it's facing would be south.
Okay.
Um,
Well, South is the money, or no, that's fame. South is fame. Sorry.
okay. I don't see the door. The door is behind me to the right of me in back.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I am in the direction, sort of the front door because what's next to me where you enter the office is a foyer, and at the end of the foyer is where the front door is. So I technically I could see anybody walking up to the front door. I'm staring out, that pathway, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But you can't see anybody approaching your office door.
Nope.
Yeah. I would say you could look at that and you could look at rearranging your desk. What you had said earlier is that you go in, you have intention to kind of kick it when you go into your office, and then you get in there and it sounds like the energy gets drained out of you.
Yes, that's it. I had that visual of just molasses like, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I'm like, so I'm supposed to be doing it. Then I go down like, the social media rabbit hole and I'm like, oh, click, click, click. All right, but I really need to be doing, I don't feel like doing it right now.
There's a lot of distractions, and you're also facing a window to the outside
Hmm.
that can ease, and you can see the front door and people coming and going.
I'm
So
not, but I often have the
the
shutters.
blinds down. Yeah,
Yes,
I heard you say
I'm
that.
not
Yep.
consciously looking.
Mm-hmm.
Although I just shared that because, if I wanted to, I could see somebody approach the front door.
Mm-hmm.
So question, is it okay, let's say the position of the desk, if I were to turn my head and be able to see if anybody enters? Is that the same, or does it have to be a full on?
Well, that there's always ideal, and then there's what will work.
Okay.
When something works, it'll work, but it might not be as strong or as powerful, as the ideal. So I don't know. You might have a big bulky desk and it wouldn't be all that easy to keep moving around furniture and see what really works. But if you are inspired to do that, that's where I would direct you. I would say try different positions of the desk and see if it motivates your creativity to see how you're reacting to it. I would also look around for clutter in your office, like the
Mm.
psychic had said about the boxes. Look and see what you have in your office. What's the artwork? What do you have plants in there?
So
Are
let's
they
go. Let's go there. This
okay?
was sort of a transition room and was going to have another purpose or a dual purpose. So quite honestly, it never got finished. There's nothing on the walls. Maybe
Oh,
one painting, if I remember correctly.
mm-hmm,
Um, and these are repurposed from another life, if you will. So
mm-hmm.
maybe there's something
Oh,
bad there.
okay.
All right. So, and there's a bookcase in there that has always been my bookcase, but came from another life, if you will. But it was always
Mm-hmm.
mine. It was
Okay.
always only my books in there, only
Mm-hmm.
my stuff in there. A lot of it, whatever was in there has been purged, and it's just, kind of essential but fun stuff too. Um, there is on that bookcase, pictures of kids and things like that, that kind of thing. Um, but there's really nothing else in there. There's a, large closet, and that's just kind of storage of stuff. But and I will say, fully transparent, I'm pretty neat and organized, quite
Mm-hmm.
not overkill,
Mm-hmm.
but there are a lot of papers in that room currently, which is bad. I get it. It's almost as if I had bills and things, and I just like, I'll get to that, and then another week goes by, I'll get to that. I'll put the stack over here.
Yeah.
Normally not me. I just not in the mood to deal with it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just catching up on stuff.
Yeah.
So that's an energy drain there. I totally get it. Like when you walk in and you just see things around, it's just like it's hard to focus. So that's
I can see why okay, you've given me a lot of information. One is this room is not yours. You have not claimed this room as your home office. I would, if I were your consultant, I would say, you've got to make this your own. You've got to,
you nailed it. You're right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with the pictures, whatever artwork you have on your walls, I heard you say that there was only one picture. I would look around for artwork that inspires you, that makes you happy, that reminds you of good times. Look at the pictures that are there. If they are evoking a sadness or a negative energy, you might want to keep them for whatever reason you would want to keep them, but maybe not in your office, maybe in a bin somewhere where you can retrieve them if you need to or want to. You haven't gotten rid of them so that, there's no regret there, kind
And
of
I
thing.
don't, you know what? I don't detect sadness from them,
Okay.
because I love tropical and some of them, could be a watercolor of a tropical
Hmm.
scene. That if I could transport myself and put me there, it'd be fine. Not negativity there.
Good.
Maybe a couple of items on the shelf or whatever, they could go.
Okay.
Um, but you nailed it with claiming.
Hmm.
You're spot on, and it was within me, but it didn't really come up for me until you said
Yes.
that. But that's really what it is. And quite honestly, I'm between houses right now, so
Hmm.
this is just a temp. So
Oh, okay. Well, that's a big tidbit of information there. And so if everything is temporary, then I mean, are you really working? I mean, the energy in there is temporary. Everything about
But
it
if
is
I don't
temporary.
claim the room
Yeah.
for myself and and where I am is my place, but if I don't claim the room with intention of this is the office,
Yep.
I put stuff on the wall that supports me. This is where I am at the moment, and this is the intent is to get work done.
Yep.
It's almost as if like revolving door. That you're not. I'm not serious about it in terms of I guess feng shui principle.
Well, I mean, I accept that coming from you. I wouldn't have said that to you because it sounds harsh coming from me, but really, this is what we do as consultants. We help you see how you are
Mm,
interacting with the energy that you have created, that you walked into, that you're trying to change, whatever the case may be.
mm.
But you said something really important that I would like people to understand, and that is, it's temporary. However, it has a purpose while you are there.
Yeah.
And you do need to own and claim that space for the time that you are there. if you think about it, everything in life is temporary.
1
So,
billion percent.
right,
Like, it
right.
really is. And
Yeah,
that's not a negative statement. But when you look at everything in our lives,
yeah,
where's the certainty? What's going to happen in the next 15 seconds with certainty? Go ahead.
right,
I
exactly.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
We have a pretty good idea.
Hmm.
And then if you subscribe to energy, there are many that will say, well, the future has already been manifest. It's already been planned out. So
Yeah,
we're out of time. I can just keep going. This is great.
yeah, we could.
It's like so cool. And I have work to do when I get home.
Yeah,
And it's almost as if, somebody wants to jump in the water, but they're dipping their toe in it and
yes,
they're not fully diving. That's me in
yeah,
this space. And it's not even intent. It just happened. It just happened. It wasn't like, intentionally not making this the office, but we're creatures of habit. So I didn't put stuff up on the wall, and then here I am. A couple
yeah. And then here you are.
few years later.
Yes, but now you've got some newfound knowledge and you've got some things to work with.
Oh, lots to talk about in the future. How do we find you? How do we connect with you if somebody wants to get an evaluation of what they got going on, some insight on Feng Shui? What's the best way?
So probably it would be my website, CatherineDeanFengShui.com, and Catherine is Catherine Fengshui.com. And they can roam around my website. There's easy ways to find what I have to offer as far as my services. And yeah, love to hear from everybody.
Wonderful talking with you. This thing we call energy is real, scientifically proven. What was his name? Einstein was
Yeah,
talking about it.
it does ring a bell.
Yeah. And we weren't listening back then, but he's just riffing off of what comes 5,000 years ago.
I mean, it is what it is, and it
Yeah.
always has been.
Yep. And it's the real deal. And you are too. Thank you so much for today. It's super
Oh,
cool.
it's
And
my pleasure.
looking forward next time we get together.
All right, thank you. Me too.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.